Welcome to the garden show. Oops, oops. We have officially changed our name. We are no longer the garden show, which is going to be really hard for me to get the hang of since I've been saying welcome to the garden show for 35 years. But we are now Garden with Peggy for consistency purposes, since that's how you find us online. And so we are now Garden with Peggy. Oh, and of course, Garden with Alfie too. He's here, being his adorable self. And we want to remind you to like and subscribe and follow on whatever you may be watching on. So we have all different kinds of ways of watching. We stream live on YouTube and Facebook, and then we archive in those places. And so you can watch us all different kinds of ways. But if you could like and subscribe, that would be great. But to call in, you have to watch on Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock, like now, and call 888-399-7344. That's PEGI 7344. And that way you can call in with questions. But I want to also remind you that when it's live, you can do comments. And when the comments show up, I can answer the comments on the air. So if you're a little shy about calling in, you can still send in a question. Okay, Alfie is starting to get a little wiggly, so we will, I'm sure, see him later. And he's down on the floor for now. So it's been a kind of snowy, wet, rainy, somewhat unpleasant week, but we did get some stuff done. So, and let's start out with the fact that today is my mother's birthday. So can we go to the picture of my mom? I think this was when she was 13. She was born in 1912, and she had rheumatic fever as a child. And so she was told not to have children when she got married. So she only had 8. And she managed to squeeze me in at the end when she was 42 and a half. I was the last child, and then she passed away when I was only 22. So I didn't have her for very long, but she was lovely, and she's very sweet. And she only, I think this was her 8th grade graduation picture, maybe. She went on to go to secretarial school, and she became certified in 3 different kinds of cursive. Today, nobody learns cursive, but she was certified in 3 different kinds of cursive because as a secretary back in the day, you needed to know those things. And she worked for a while, but then she married my dad. So I just thought you would get a kick out of seeing her. She was lovely. All right. So as I said, we've been busy, and we've had a lot of talk about orchids. And at some point, Jordan's going to call today because she sent us some pictures about her pitcher plants. So we're going to talk about them. But we've talked about orchids quite a bit in the last few weeks. We went to the orchid show, and I bought orchids, and Mary sent in her pictures of orchids. But we were also talking about bell jars. So can we go to the pictures of bell jars? Now, bell jars, also known as cloche, I think that's how you say it. And it's French for bell jar, I think, but it is something that's used in gardening. It's a relatively old-fashioned kind of thing where you can cover plants to increase their humidity. And for orchids, which live in the tropics, hanging down in rainforests where you could practically drink the air, high humidity is very important. But look at these. Went online and found these available, and probably the best bargain here is the one for $229.99, but it's also $50 shipping, so not so sure about that. And then the other one, these two were both big. The one on the left was 9.5 inches, which is, big, not huge. The one in the middle is 16 inches, which is probably the most useful. And the one on the right, $75. I think that was only 6 inches. So, or maybe 9, but not big enough to cover an orchid. So I was finding this extremely frustrated and really didn't want to spring for $300 for a bell jar. So I found this online, and it was $50, and it was for sale on Marketplace, on Facebook Marketplace. And I called them, and she gave me the measurements, and it was bigger than any of the ones I've seen online. And it looked from the picture that it would be fairly easy to disassemble. But again, $50 was still, they were kind enough to sell it to me for $35. So I bought it for $35, and I went to their house, and it was magnificent. And I can't see this really what I would think of as a fairly ugly light fixture actually being in their house. So the house was magnificent, 3-car garage, beautiful landscaping, basketball court in the back. You know, I could never see this hanging in the house. So I guess that's why they got rid of it. But I'm going to show you a little video of what we did with it. This is my new monkey orchid, and I really want to see the monkeys when it blooms. So we want to take special care of it. For right now, it's living in that spot, but I wanted to get it a bell jar to increase its humidity. And online, they are so incredibly expensive. And so I tried to get creative, and I found this light fixture for $35, which is called a bell jar chandelier. And it unhooks pretty easily, and the whole light part actually will come out of the center like that. I'm actually thinking of keeping this piece too, if I can figure out how to detach that. But look at this. How cool is that? So I now have a very large bell jar to protect my monkey orchid. And remember, they don't need a tremendous amount of light, so if that diffuses a little light, it should be fine. But I think that this was a success. Well, that's it. So I don't know what your chances are of finding the exact same light fixture online at that bargain price, but you can always look, and I'm sure that there's others. You might even be able to buy it new for less money than a bell jar, but in any event, they do exist. And, you know, as many grandmothers used to say, use it up, wear it out, make it do without. Figure out how to do it with what you've got and what you can afford and what's in your budget. So I'm very pleased. The monkey orchid is doing very well under that. The thing is that it takes up a lot of space, and there's not a lot of space in the greenhouse. But so right now it's in the middle of my table where I have lunch, but but it's thriving, and that's the most important thing at the moment. And we'll be rearranging things soon. We always do rearrange. And over the course of the winter, we lose a plant here and a plant there. So we'll make some room and move it to an ideal location. It's in a pretty good location now, except that I can't eat lunch at the table. So, you know, but we're having fun with it. So let's see, who do we have on? No. Okay. So let me give the phone number. It's 888-399-7344. And I want to do a shout out to Jack from Metuchen, who has finally been able to figure out the technology to be able to watch the show. And of course, he's a longtime listener. He may not be calling in, which is fine. He could send us a comment if he so choose. But it's just nice to, as the word spreads and people figure out how to find us, that more and more people are tuning in, which is great. And our subscriptions are on the rise. And Andy from South River, of course, has been helping us. And my husband has been spending all kinds of time learning from him and getting us different kinds of shorts on YouTube. And they just pop up and people comment. And we've had a couple of them that have had over 2,000 views. So, you know, the show is growing. All right. So we do have a caller. It's my good buddy, Jordan, and we're going to go to her pictures. Hey, Jordan, how you doing?
Hi, Peggy. I'm good. How are you? Good morning.
Good morning. It's wet and rainy, and I have 3 soggy, smelly dogs running around the house.
Oh no.
Well,
I'm sorry. It's gross out.
yeah, it's pretty miserable. It's pretty miserable, but at
Yeah.
least all the snow is gone. So
I know.
this
Thank God.
this is your pitcher plant, and Nepenthes is the botanical name, correct?
Yeah.
All right, so tell me about it.
Yeah. Depends. What was that?
Nepenthes. So tell me about it.
It's really a cool plant. We got it at a greenhouse a couple years ago now, maybe. So this is its second winter that it's spending here. I like to keep it outside in the summer, but inside in the winter it just lives in my west facing window. It kind of, goes downhill a little bit until I can get it back outside. But last year it went crazy.
Okay, well, explain. What are we looking at? I know, but explain for our listening audience what this is. It's this gigantic pitcher.
So they're technically modified leaves. So where the Nepenthes grow, I mean, at least depending on the variety, I think this one is epiphytic. You can tell because it's really viney. So because they don't get a lot of nutrients through the soil or through their root systems, they had to adapt. So how they adapted was, I hear babies. Dogs. But how they adapted is they modified the leaf to make a pitcher, and that's just how they get nitrogen, by trapping bugs.
So the bugs go in there. Is there water in there? Is there moisture in there? Or some kind of
there's moisture
nectar?
in there. It's like it's like a digestive enzyme.
A
But you'll
digestive
see,
enzyme.
like, sometimes if you look on the outside of the pitcher, there's like a kind of a strip, and sometimes there's like little hairs on the ridges that define the strip. And within that area, there's a bit of a sticky substance that I think attracts the bugs. Last summer, they were just filled with ants and gnats, and it was really crazy.
And can you propagate these?
I've tried. I haven't really had success. They take a very long time to propagate. As you know, there's like different ways that you can go about it. I tried the water propagation method. It took about 3 or 4 months for me to get a root. And I've heard of people having more success using like sphagnum moss, and then they'll put a plastic bag over it to keep it humid. And I think that method is a little bit faster and also would reduce like the transplant shock when you go to pot it up. Because as soon as I took it out of the water and put it into sphagnum moss, it just wilted and withered away and dried up. So if I try it again, I'll be trying to moss.
Okay. Well, if you are successful, can I trade you for something? Because I would like to have one of these. And I've seen them.
Sure.
They're I think I saw them were we together when we saw them hanging someplace? We were someplace.
Yeah.
And they were like, $50 or $60. They were not inexpensive plants. So, and they weren't as nice as yours. So, does it make flowers in addition to this, since you said these are modified leaves, or how does it ever make seed? Do you know if it ever makes seed?
I don't know. I feel like I've heard of them flowering before, but I haven't ever experienced it. And I don't know enough to speak about that, but that would be interesting to find out.
Yeah, that would be fun. Okay. So this is your magnificent Nepenthes, which is a pitcher plant. And there are other kinds of pitcher plants too, right? So this is not the only one.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There's so many kinds. It's a really diverse genus. I guess I have another one, which I haven't had the chance to have it outside for a summer yet. And I'm really waiting. I'm waiting with bated breath for next summer so I can put it out. It's we got it at Mike's. It's a St. Gaia. It's beautiful. The pictures are like red and green, but the background is green and they have red striations on them, and they're really just beautiful.
Well, you'll have to send me a picture of that one.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture from online because mine doesn't have any pictures at the moment.
Well, send me a picture of yours, and then we can always find a picture. That's hard to say. A picture of the picture, which that is it. It's hard to say. All right, so thank you for sharing, and enjoy the rest of the day. Are you going to do anything fun? I hope.
Yeah, I'm making some noodles.
Okay, well, you enjoy that, and I will see you soon, I
Thank
hope.
you.
All right, thanks for calling in, hon.
All right.
All right,
Yeah.
bye-bye
Thank
now.
you.
All
Bye.
right, let me give the phone number again. It's 888-399-7344, and that's Peggy, Pegi, and you can call in. And for those of you who may be watching this in the archive version, remember that if you want to call in, we're on the air 10 o'clock on Sundays, and we're on for an hour. We've overrun that a few times, but with spring coming, there's a good possibility we will be overrunning it more. But the only time you can call in is on Sundays, but you can always send me a question via the website, which is gardenwithpegi.com. So, all right, so we showed my mom. Let's do the staircase. Okay. The stairwell. This is a winter project, and to try to bring the feel of gardening inside a little bit. This is the last inside project that I have to work on, and I decided to paint the stairwell with stripes and initially, and you can't hang anything on these stairs. They were originally attic stairs, and we bumped up the roof upstairs, so it is a very steep staircase and very narrow, so we can't hang anything on the walls to make them interesting. So I decided to paint stripes, and I was using that 6-foot level to draw very narrow stripes so that when I use the roller to go over them, they would be completely covered. Unfortunately, the paint did not cover the pencil marks as effectively as I thought, and I had to go over it with a second coat wherever the pencil marks were. But you can see I'm being supervised by Alfie, make sure I get the job done right. And then on the right, that's me actually rolling. At the very tippy top of those stripes was a bit of a challenge because I had to do it with a paintbrush on the end of an extender to do the cutting in near the ceiling. It came out fine, but it's not something I'd want to do every day. And there I am filling in the gaps at the bottom because the roller only goes straight up and down, obviously. And so I had to hand paint the bottoms. And the really trickiest part, you can see in the picture on the left where the lines are from the level. But to get behind the handrail, I suppose we could have taken the handrail off, but that was more than I could handle by myself. And so I got that little tiny skinny roller and rolled underneath the handrail, got a little paint on it, but was able to wipe it off. So the stripes were done. And then here comes the tree. What I want to do is paint a cherry tree with cherry blossoms on it, not a gazillion. I don't want it to be a pink cloud. I just want scattered cherry blossoms on it and maybe a few petals falling. And so I started the tree on the landing, and the tree continued to grow. That is as far as I got with the tree growing up. And the idea is that you can even see that I've had the branches go on the ceiling on the one on the right. So this was actually like 3 different sessions that it took me to get as far as I've gotten. I'm a little concerned about how to grow the tree way up by the ceiling. I'm going to need some kind of a ladder or a scaffold. I can get significantly further by just going up the steps, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to get far enough up. So we're going to come up with some way. Several people suggested a step ladder and a board. That might work. I've seen those kind of platforms where the legs adjust, so you can make them shorter on one side to go on the stairs and longer on the other side to go on the landing. Not sure that that's going to be big enough to make work. We'll have to see how that goes. But I will be painting more of that this afternoon, I think. And then those are cherry blossoms, and I want to paint cherry blossoms. I want them to be relatively simple. So the idea of painting 100 or so individual cherry blossoms is a bit daunting, but so I thought maybe I would try a sponge. And so I bought these sponges, and sponges on a stick. And then what I did with them was I cut them to be petal shaped. And this is what I did. So, I trimmed them with a pair of scissors and made them, took the two largest ones. And I think the largest one was too large, but then the smaller one, I hate it. I'm sorry. I hate it. It looks like a cherry blossom, but it looks, and I could take some time and I could paint like striations on it and a center, of course, but it's still going to look like a flat flower. And can we go back a couple slides? Yeah, they're not flat. They're not flat. So I've decided that that's not going to work. And I think the only way to accomplish what I really want to accomplish is to paint them individually, which is going to take a long time. But I'll keep you posted. If anybody has any scathingly brilliant ideas as to another way that I could try to do this, but I think that I'm going to need, if I want them to look anything like an assortment of flowers, I can't do it like this. So any ideas would be welcome. All right. So that's what I've been working on, and that's what I'm going to work on this afternoon. So we'll see. But I really am happy with how the tree's coming out, and that's kind of important. So now also, and one of the reasons I'm doing this is I love the idea of having the flowers go up the wall, and that's something beautiful that will be there all year long to try to bring some of the garden inside. So that is the goal. Okay, so let's see what's now. Oh, let's I know which one I want to do. I'm very excited about this. Let's do the popcorn plant. Okay, we have talked about the popcorn plant before. This is the popcorn plant in my garden, not this past year because it didn't do anything this past year, but the year before. And it's a cassia is the botanical name of it. And it smells like buttered popcorn, which is how it got its name. And it's a magnificent plant. And I've grown it as an annual. I've grown it maybe 3 or 4 different times. 2 years ago, when it was in this condition that you see on the screen right now, I was able to save seed. It made not a lot. It did not make a lot of seeds, but it did make enough so that last year I was able to start maybe 15 plants from seed, and I gave some of them away, and I planted some in the garden, and they did nothing. I didn't know, very few people. I think Bob from Piscataway, he was a little bit successful, and he said that he had some seeds, but I wanted to see if I could find more seeds because I had a really hard time when I had to buy seeds to find them. So I guess they're growing in popularity because I found them in a couple of places. But here's the thing. In researching them, I found out that in a tropical environment, zones 9 and 10, they are perennial. They will overwinter. So the fact that Anne-Marie gave me her 2 that she had in pots that are in my greenhouse, this is them in my greenhouse, and you can see they're, alive and well. If I can continue to overwinter them successfully, then I can put them out and they're going to get huge, I hope, next year. So this was information that I never had before. So I wasn't sure about overwintering them. I thought maybe it was just if they were annuals that it was just going to be a waste of space, but I wanted to try it. And I'm so glad I did. I don't think I even told Anne-Marie this, but yes, they should survive. Next. Okay, so this is where I got them. Actually, bonanzastatic.com. And I don't know, the website comes across as a little bit weird. It doesn't seem to be a company that is a seed company. It seems to be a company that accumulates all different kinds of things from different small growers or small businesses and makes them available. That's what it looks like to me. But I was able to get the seeds at what was kind of a reasonable price. I paid more than that last time, but still for 10 seeds, it's over $1 a seed. So they're not inexpensive, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to get them. So I'm going to try them again. But now I've also got the 2 from the greenhouse. So I'm expecting to be successful this year, and we'll have the head start with the 2 from the greenhouse that are so much bigger. And I may actually try to grow some of the ones this year in containers so that I can overwinter them again next year. So we'll see how that all goes. But I think that's pretty cool. So if you're looking to buy some of these seeds, if you find another place, good for you. But this place definitely had them. bonanzastatic.com. And I don't understand this Rocky Gurung's booth. And he's from Indonesia. So the whole thing is a little confusing. I sent them the money. Hopefully the seeds will come. I'll keep you posted. Okay, so should I give the phone number again? We should go back to me and I will give the phone number again. It's 888-399-7344. That's Peggy, P-E-G-I, 7344. And where's everybody? Nobody's calling in. Well, we did have the opportunity to chat with Jordan, which was, of course, lovely. But again, the number 888-399-7344. Okay, what should we do next? How about seeds for this week? All right, so Jordan and I spent some time going through a lot of seed catalogs, and I haven't ordered everything from all the seed catalogs, but I did start out with ordering quite a few seeds from Baker's, which is my favorite seed catalog, Baker's Rare Seeds. And I decided this year to go with the Sugar Daddy Sugar Snap Pea. They don't get as tall. And that's one of the problems that I've had with the Sugar Snaps, as much as I love the original Sugar Snap, which I think is a superior pea. They get to the top of whatever structure I've built for them, and then they start to bend over and we lose them. So if we can, these are a shorter pea. And so I'm hoping, and if you notice, they got a 4.7 star with 15 reviews. So I'm thinking they've got to be pretty good. 4.7, I don't think I ever saw anything much higher than that, maybe 4.8. But the seeds are reviewed in this catalog, so it gives you an idea. And you can read the reviews, as a matter of fact. So I also was tempted to grow this other pea, which is also a sugar pea. It's called Sugar Magnolia. Now, Jordan says she's grown them, but the flowers are so pretty. And the pods, I could just see that in a peas and cheese sandwich, you know, those purple pods. So we ordered some of them. Again, these are from the Baker's seed catalog. All right, I've tried these twice and have been unsuccessful in getting much of anything to grow, but I want to try them one more time. This is the butterfly pea seeds that make a tea that you can drink hot or cold. And it turns out it was Queen Elizabeth's favorite tea. When my daughter went to England, she brought me back some of the tea. And one of the interesting things is that you make a tea from the flowers, and if you add lemon to it, it turns pink. It's blue when it comes right out of the flowers, and it turns pink if you add lemon. I want to try that. I want to grow the flowers. I want to try it. I've got really poor germination in the past 2 years when I've tried it. So this is the third year. Either we make it this year and we have some success, or we're done. But it's such a cool thing. So I really, really, really want to try it. I came across these little finger carrots, and they're just so cute. You know, I could see myself munching on them. You know, when you buy the baby carrots in the supermarket, they're usually not really baby carrots. They're big carrots that have just been cut down to be bite-sized. But these are really very skinny, very crunchable baby carrots. So I thought I'd try them. And we have very sandy soil, which is a very good thing if you want to grow carrots. Any kind of root crop does much better in a sandy soil. So I want to try these. I think they're cute and they're fun, and I like carrots. So we're going to give them a whirl. And these, I was looking for cucumbers, and we did mark cucumbers in a couple of different catalogs. But this one, here's the one that got a 4.8. that fact alone made that one very tempting. So, so we're going to try to grow some cucumbers. I don't need a lot of cucumbers. We don't eat that many cucumbers. So, you know, just a few would be great. So I have a tower that's in the Garden of Ancient Ruins that I'm thinking of moving into the middle of the vegetable garden. And then we can use that as a trellis for the cucumbers. That's what I'm thinking. And that'll be enough. But then I'm also thinking of maybe using it to grow pole beans, but we'll get to that. All right, who have we got? Okay, this is Uncle Art. Okay, we're going to hold the slides there, but now we're going to talk to Uncle Art. How you doing?
Good
Art.
morning, Peggy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I love your tree.
Oh,
But you gotta stunt the growth before you kill yourself getting all the way up to the top of the ceiling.
yeah. Today,
Maybe you can top it off a little early.
maybe.
But anyway,
Maybe, or maybe I could just, you know, go higher as I go up the stairs, you know, like have it grow that way. But today is going to be the day, because I think today is the last day that I can reach it from a normal position. You know, I can go up a couple steps and I can go maybe 2 feet higher than I am now, which will allow me to turn the corner and go around the other wall. So that'll kind of tell me what I can and can't do. So we'll see. But thank you for admiring my tree.
All trees and shrubs need trimming once in a while.
I suppose that's true. That's true.
Like when you were talking about bell jars, I love that. We used to do cuttings and put them in the ground and take gigantic mayonnaise jars and put them over them and just act like a terrarium. And that really worked good for rooting cuttings. So,
yes.
and
now
if people can't find bell jars, they can use big, you know, mayonnaise jars or something real big, even soda bottles, cut the bottom off or the top off and put them over it.
So then the question is, do you think that the new plastic mayonnaise jars and soda bottles would be as effective as the old glass ones?
I don't know. Probably not. But, you know, I guess everything is being replaced with plastic. So maybe they're not available. We have a couple still kicking around that we use once in a while.
But I think with the whole recycling thing, I think there's a possibility maybe they'll go back to glass. There's certainly some advantages, but the whole plastic crisis, glass you can wash and reuse over and over again. The plastic just floats in the ocean. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see a resurgence of the glass. But and mayonnaise jars are kind of famous for rooting roses, to cover a rose cutting and have it root. So yeah, that's a good idea. But for the orchid,
and actually,
I needed something bigger than a mayonnaise jar. So so I went on the hunt. I think I did pretty good. I think that, you know, worked out pretty well. What do you think?
Oh, it's beautiful. And it's decorative besides. You could make it as a centerpiece on your dining room table.
And I could do that. I could definitely do that. So but I had fun, and the lady was so nice. I sent her a copy of the video that I made for the show, and I heard back from them. So I think that they were appreciative that it was not getting a traditional use, but it was getting a new lease on life, so to speak.
You know, years ago we went down to Williamsburg, Virginia, the historic center, and they have the gardens there, and they had bell jars in the gardens. I wonder if they, you know, people go down there, maybe they have them for sale down there.
They might have them for sale. And then there's that, I wonder, there's that glass company in New Jersey, Blasco or something like that. Have you ever heard of them, Uncle Ed? Uncle Art, have you ever heard of them? They make colored glass, and they're famous for flat vases / pitchers. So if you look at it from the side, it looks like a square. And if you look at it from the end, it's about 4 inches wide, and it has an indentation so you can pick it up. They make all kinds of weird glass things, and I don't even know if they're still in existence, but I bet you, because that's part of down in South Jersey, there's a couple of like Williamsburg, only smaller, because they used to make a lot of glass in South Jersey from all the sand in the Pine Barrens. So
yeah, Cape May at the Physics Museum. They have a glass blower out there. So you're right. You maybe you'll find a glass blower They can do this stuff for you.
Oh, Uncle Art. Oh, I got it. In Asbury Park, there is a place where you can go and they will work with you. It's not cheap, believe me. It's like $100, and you go in there and they will work with you to use one of those long tubes, glass blowing tubes, and they have the big furnace, and you can, we have 2 glasses. Tommy and I each made a glass. I wonder if we could go there and get them to make bell jars. I mean, that's like right around the corner.
Peggy, your face is gorgeous. When you came out with that explanation, you just lit up. So
it's called
I'm
hot.
enjoying watching you.
It's called Hot Sand, and I've been wanting to go back, but you know, $100 for a drinking glass is, you know, kind of out of my budget. It was fun for one time, but to go back to make a bell jar, oh wow, I need to call them. I'm gonna call them later today. You inspired me, Uncle Art. You inspired me.
Oh, wonderful! I'm glad I added to your life today.
All right. Well, thank you very much for calling in. Do you have a question for me, or are we just, you know, getting caught up on cool stuff?
Just bid you a fond adieu. Have a great day.
Okay, you too. Thanks for calling. All right, bye-bye now.
Bye.
I think we need to pursue that, Tommy. I bet they could do that. I mean, I don't know that I could do that with them, but it's kind of big, but I bet they could do that. It would probably cost a couple $100, but it would be a fun experience, and I will definitely look into that then maybe sometime this week. All right. So do we have any other callers? I should give the phone number again. 888-399-7344, or that's 7344 is PEGI, which is my name. And how much time do we have? Okay. So we still have about 25 minutes. So if anybody would like to call, there's plenty of time to call, but let's go back to the slides that we were looking at for seeds. Okay. This is a little watermelon. It looks like, you know, kind of on the small side, and you get 15 seeds, but I don't want a giant watermelon. First of all, watermelon take up so much space in the garden. We grew watermelon a couple years ago and it just covered everything. So I'm not exactly sure what the best way to go about doing that. Maybe haven't figured it out yet, but I like to eat watermelon, and they were successful, and the watermelon were good, but it took over too much. So I don't know. I haven't decided exactly how we're going to do that. And then this little melon, it was advertised as their favorite melon. So I thought, okay, well, I only got a 4.1, but they said it was their favorite melon at Baker Creek Rare Seeds. So I figured, okay, well, if it's their favorite melon, I mean, they could just be saying that. Maybe they say that about 16 different melons. I didn't check all the melons, but they said that this was their favorite melon. So we're going to give that one a try. All right. So how many times did we talk about this BHN 589 tomato? I mean, it is a stupid name. And yes, we decided that it's a determinate tomato. And yes, it's, you know, maybe you need to plant it staggered plantings if you really want this kind of tomato throughout the season, because the determinate tomato, for those of you who don't know, it gets a certain point, it stops growing, where an indeterminate tomato continues to produce. But let's be fair, let's be honest, indeterminate tomatoes, while they may continue to produce, they can peter out too. Maybe not in the same way botanically, but they may not last forever either. So doing staggered plantings of determinate or indeterminate tomatoes is the best way to extend your season. But that's not why I got excited when I read about this one. I got these at Johnny's Seeds, and I didn't buy a lot from them. A lot of their seeds that were available for homeowners were already sold out. Their larger packaging was available, but I don't need, 5 pounds of seed of anything. So, and they were so expensive. They were really, really almost frighteningly expensive. So I got these, and since I had to pay for shipping, I decided I would also get this zinnia, because I love zinnias. Zinnias are fun. And giant zinnias are kind of hard to argue with, and they bloom most of the summer, and they're very reliable. And so I will pop these in someplace in the garden for sure. But here's the thing that got me excited. And I'm looking at my husband while I'm saying this because it might intrigue him as well. It says it's the best determinant tomato for hoop house growing. That means, you know, if you want to get a head start, it's a good tomato to get started with if you're going to cover it with a hoop house outside so that you can, you know, kind of get an early crop. So I'm thinking, why can't I grow these in 5-gallon buckets in my greenhouse? And I can get them started early in the greenhouse and then move them out, you know, when the time comes, but have a really big head start so that I could have, maybe I could have tomatoes for Memorial Day. So I'm thinking that as soon as we get them, I'm going to start these and see, and then grow them in big containers and see if I can get a jump on the season with that description, best determinant tomato for hoop house growing. And then maybe I can plant something else. You know, I don't know that I'm going to want to disturb them once they're doing well in a big container, but we'll see. But it's going to be something I'm going to play with. All right, we're back to Baker's Creek here. The mushroom basket tomato is one of my favorite tomatoes that I've ever grown. I love it. It just, it has good flavor. And when you slice it, it looks like flowers. And I've done well with it. And I'm going to do it again this year. This orange accordion, it didn't get great reviews. It only got a 3.8, but I'm imagining in my head a plate of sliced orange accordions and sliced mushroom baskets, and it would look something like a display of flowers. So I really want to try that. I think it would be really beautiful and very artistic, and maybe it would even taste good. The Jersey Devil is my favorite plum type tomato. It's a big tomato. I like the name. It does well. It produces in a wide variety of seasons. So it's that's another staple for me is the Jersey Devil. And then I was looking for something else. And this one is kind of variegated, this pink jazz. And so these are the ones I've ordered. I have others that I want to order from another catalog that I haven't gotten to yet, but these are the ones. So I have if I only grow these, I'll have had a nice selection. I'm not crazy about cherry tomatoes or grape tomatoes. I'd rather have a big juicy tomato and slice it up myself for the most part. Okay, this one is, I went over to Park Seed and ordered a few things from them. I love this. This is a spaghetti squash. Now, spaghetti squash will last in storage inside. It's a winter squash for up to 3 months, but they're so big. This is like a little mini version, which would be just enough for, you know, Tommy and I to use it. And it's an excellent substitute for, believe it or not, spaghetti. And you scrape it out of the inside of the fruits, and you can use it just like spaghetti, and put tomato sauce on it, or mix it up, stir fry some vegetables with it. It's easy enough to cook. You just throw it in a pot of water and boil it. It's not hard. And then you cut it open and you scoop it out. So, but the vines are so big and the fruits are so big that, you know, it's like more than just 2 people can handle. So I found this little one, and it had 6 reviews, and and it's got 5 stars. Sorry. Okay, next. Also from Park Seed, Amadeo eggplants. I think I've grown them before. I've tried a lot of different kinds of eggplants, and they're all interesting and fun, but I just want a decent eggplant, you know, that I can make caponata out of, or I can make fried eggplants for eggplant sandwiches, or eggplant Parmesan. I just really, you know, I like them all, but the big, plain, simple, traditional eggplants, you can do so much with them. So, and you can certainly cut them up and use them in the same way as you could use a smaller one. So I thought this year that I'm just going to try these. Also from Park Seed, I ordered a mesclun mix lettuce. That's the way I like to grow lettuce now. I like all the different kinds, and and I enjoy just, yanking them out and throwing them into a salad and have it. I've never been a big fan of iceberg, so I love the mescla mixes. That's what I buy in the winter when I'm buying lettuce at the market. I buy something called spring mix. So if I can grow my own, so much better. And I like it better than buying 6 different packets of seed and growing them all. It's much more economical to buy them pre-mixed. So that's what we're doing. And I haven't grown these in a few years, also from Park Seed. These are pumpkins on a stick. And they look like pumpkins on a stick, but they're not pumpkins. They're eggplants. And once dried, they will last for years. And they are such a wonderful, colorful addition to the fall garden. And you can cut them in and they look so great indoors, in a vase. And they're really fun to give away. So I decided I wanted to grow these again. I haven't grown them in a couple of years, so we'll grow them again. And maybe, if I get the packet has 25 seeds in it, I'm certainly not going to need all 25 seeds. So I will probably have some to give away at the plant exchange, but they are really fun. And this was a strange, again, I don't know about this company. I'm not real familiar with it. I've seen it popping up more and more often, but I was looking for roselle seeds. And last year, I don't know if it was the weather, the roselle plants got enormous and never flowered. Now the okras, which they're a close relative of, did fine. So I don't know why the roselles never produced these pods, but they're fascinating in that you can take those pods and you cook them down and you make a wonderful beverage out of them. So I really would like to try that again, but you can also eat the leaves, which is kind of interesting. And the okra seeds, Jing orange, I grew them last year and they did well. By the time they started bearing, though, the garden was getting tired and I didn't harvest a lot of them. So I really want to give them another try, but they get 5 stars. So all of these plants that I ordered from this trueleafmarket.com got 5 stars. So I'm hoping that they will do well. But the Kentucky Wonder pole bean is the bean of choice for making leather breeches. And those of you who watch the show all the time, leather breeches are this totally amazing, fascinating way of stringing green beans literally on a thread with a needle and thread and letting them dry. And after they dry, they will store for the whole winter. It is a kind of food preservation technique that was used very commonly prior to even canning and still used today. And I learned about them reading a book about Kentucky, the mountains in Kentucky during the Depression, and I didn't know what they were talking about. So I looked them up. And the bean of choice is Kentucky Wonder. Makes sense in Kentucky. So I really want to, and I think I might use the Christmas trees to grow them up. And maybe I'll even keep them in the stands. I haven't worked all the details out, but I have 2 Christmas trees, and Chris has pointed out, I think it was Chris, that you can cut the branches off the Christmas trees and then string across them. I'm wondering if I just leave some of the branches on, trim them down, and make them that they could become like a pole in the center, and I could grow the beans up all the branches on the sides. So I'm thinking that I might try that. Actually, if Chris calls, I might ask his opinion on that. So the Kentucky Wonder pole beans are to make leather breeches. That's the plan. Of course, I'll eat some fresh too, but is that it? Is that the end of the slides? Okay, so that's everything that I've decided to order so far. There will be more things that I'm ordering coming up this week. So, all right, what's next? We have something else to show. Oh, can we show the video on on what I did with that little succulent garden? Okay, I did this in the greenhouse a week or so ago, and I'm happy to report that everything is taking really nicely. So take a look at this.
I'm going to do a little more succulent garden. See, this plant here is way out of balance with the rest. So we're going to cut it back and put it aside. And I want to point out that this is the same plant, and you can see how I cut this one back and it sent out side shoots. So I'm hoping the same thing will happen. But in the meantime, we also have this little leggy guy. So we're going to cut that, and we're going to cut it with just a tiny bit of stem. And we're going to use my favorite tool. We're going to poke a little hole here, and we're going to put this right like that. Hopefully that'll root. And in this spot, we're going to take this overgrown succulent. We're going to cut it way back here because that was getting very top heavy. And we're going to cut this. We're going to take off some of these leaves. The healthy ones we will just throw in the pot. And then again, we're going to make a little hole. With luck, that'll root. And now it looks perfect.
Okay, so I did take a look at that yesterday in the greenhouse, and it still looks perfect. So it seems to be rooting, and it looks really good, and I'm very happy about that. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I think I generally use succulent gardens as gifts. They make really good house gifts for when you're going to visit somebody. So I grow them, and yesterday I got kind of a friend of mine had a very small greenhouse, and she sold her house, and I was invited over to take a few things that she didn't want to take with her. And I got a small strawberry jar that had a succulent in it. And I'm thinking that all the little pockets on the outside of the strawberry jar really didn't have anything interesting in them. And the one growing out of the top was a succulent that's kind of overgrown. So I'm thinking maybe I could cut that back and hope it will fill in. And then I could take all the pockets and put little succulents in there. And I think that might be fun. So succulent gardens, I like to collect succulents. I have many, many, many different kinds. And I mean, I don't need to propagate them for me. So if I do a succulent garden, then they're really something fun to give away. So, all right, who have we got next? Somebody. Sharon. Oh, Sharon is calling from Winfield. Hi, what can I do for you?
Hi, Peggy. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. What can I do for you today?
You know what? I actually texted you a picture of this Thanksgiving, what I believe is a Thanksgiving cactus that I was trying to, try to get to bloom again, or bloom, period. I'm having a little problem with it.
Okay. Well, tell me about it. Where do you keep it?
Right now it is in my kitchen. It is not in full sun. It has east sun, but it's blocked by another plant. So it's not in full sun. I try to water it when it is dry. I acquired this plant during the pandemic when at my office there was a person who was throwing out her plants, and I was like, oh, I'll take this one, and see what I could do with it.
Okay.
I mean, that's
I have a couple questions. If it's in your kitchen, it's probably warm. Kitchens tend to be the warmest room in the house, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's close to a window. I have a very small kitchen. But yes, okay. So, point taken.
Okay. So I would say the fact that it's in an east-facing window, even if it's a little bit blocked by another plant, is not the problem. It's the heat. That's the thing. And there's a lot of confusion about Thanksgiving cactus, Christmas cactus, Easter cactus. They're all related. There's a certain genetic capability to bloom at a certain time, but that's not the primary factor. They're very sensitive to temperature. If nighttime temperatures are above 65 degrees, it's not going to bloom at all. If
Yeah, and that's probably, yes,
If
that could be it. for
nighttime
sure.
temperatures are between 55 and 65 degrees about, it will bloom if you give it long nights, like a poinsettia. Okay. Because it's a combination of light sensitivity and temperature sensitivity. But between 45
Yeah.
and 55 degrees at night, it will bloom regardless of day or night length. So what I'm
Okay.
saying is you need to find a cool spot to put it. And you can trigger it into blooming really at any time if you give it the correct nighttime temperatures. So
Right.
So do you have a place
I'm sorry.
like a breezeway where it's not really heated, something like that, or
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm basically living in an apartment, but I do have a basement. So maybe I could bring it downstairs,
okay, is there a good window down
you
there?
know? No.
No. Okay. All right. So do you have a balcony of any kind or a porch? Or
We have a deck. Yeah, nothing. We have a deck, and that is west facing, Bill, right? Yeah, we have a west facing deck.
Okay. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to just like it for now as a green plant because it's green and it's healthy. And I saw the image of it.
It is.
We tried to get it up quickly on the, we can't do that quickly. So, but I was able to see it, and it does look very healthy. So for now, you're not going to do anything, and you're probably not going to get it to bloom for a while, but
Mhm.
next year you're going to put it on the deck, and in the west facing deck. Doesn't need to be in the sunniest spot. It doesn't need western exposure all day long, sun all day long. It needs so it can be further back. It can be a centerpiece on a table. It can be on a coffee table where it's not in the sunniest part of the deck. But put it out on the deck, move it out gradually so that it gets used to the additional light, so it doesn't get sunburned. But then
Mhm.
in the fall, you're going to leave it there. You're going to just leave it
Oh.
there, and you're going to leave it. You're going to keep an eye out on the weather forecast. You're going to, if you should find that it's the temperature is going to go, below 40 or below 45, you can bring it in. So I have a question on this deck. Are there sliding glass doors that go to the deck?
No, just one door egress. No.
Okay,
No.
is it a glass door or a wooden door?
It's a wooden door.
Okay, so you're going to have to bring it in and then put it back out in the fall. But you'll find that the way the
Mhm.
weather works in the fall, when you think about it, we might have a night or two where the temperature plummets and then it's warm again. So you want to leave it out for as many nights as possible. And that should trigger it into blooming. And once it starts to bloom, it will continue the process.
Gotcha. I mean, just the things that I have done previously, I tried putting a brown paper bag over it, where it was in the spot in the kitchen just to get the light away from it. Was that wrong or?
Not necessarily wrong in that you're trying to create a long night, but as I said, if it's in your kitchen, it's probably temperature is 65 degrees or above at night.
Yeah.
Maybe you lower the
Yeah.
temperature a little bit, but the kitchen is always the warmest, with the stove and the oven and the hot water for the dishes and all that. It's usually the warmest room in the house. And so it's not going to be cold enough. It doesn't matter about day length or night length or covering it at night. If it's that warm, it's not going to bloom no matter what you do. So It's not wrong. It just didn't work. It didn't hurt the plant.
It did not.
So,
it did not.
It wasn't hurtful
okay,
in any
so,
way or harmful. It just didn't work. So
yeah, well, yeah. Thank you for saying it does look healthy for what it's supposed to be. So I guess I have a bay window, east facing, but it's away from the kitchen. So I guess I'm gonna go put her over there, and hope for the best for
Well,
now
you know, the bay
until I can bring them
window,
outside.
bay windows tend to be cold.
Yeah, yeah. Is it too cold?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you heat that
Yep.
room, right? I mean, the room is heated. It's part of your indoor space,
Absolutely.
right?
Yep.
Okay. But the window
Yeah, it's
itself,
my office. Yes.
you could try, you know, putting a thermometer over there and seeing exactly how cold it gets, to give you a
Mhm.
clue. But if it's exposed to cool temperatures for, you know, like 6 weeks at night, it will bloom. It will definitely bloom. So
Yep.
that's an option. And so
Oh.
you could try that. You could try that now and see if it's cool enough, because it's cold out. It might be cool enough right in the window to force it into bloom for now. But if that doesn't work, leave it out in the fall for as long as you can. And it should, you know, leave it out on that deck, and then just bring it in and move it back to that east window, and then move it back out if we're going to get another spell where it's going to be warm enough at night. But if you can expose it to cool night temperatures, it will definitely bloom. And you can force it into bloom anytime you can do that. It's not so easy to do it in the spring because you can't suddenly move it out to cold temperatures. In the fall, it gets
Mhm.
used to the cold gradually because it's outside, it's acclimated, and as the days get shorter and the temperature goes down, it gets used to it. But it's been inside, so you can't move it outside now, even if we get to a time when the temperatures are going to be consistently above freezing, because it hasn't been acclimated. So, as I said, you can try putting it in the eastern bay window, because that's going to be cooler than the kitchen. So you could try that and see if it does anything, and it'll be happy in that spot. In terms of just being green and healthy, it may or may not bloom, but it will be triggered into bloom next fall when you leave it out. So you have a plan of action.
Yes, absolutely, Peggy. Thank you so much.
Oh, my
I
pleasure.
had no idea what to do with it.
Yeah, they're
Like I said,
they're not
I'm sorry?
difficult, but they do have a distinct personality. So, but you can work with
You
it.
know, as I said, during the pandemic, you know, one of my coworkers was getting rid of her plants, and I was like, oh, let me take this and try to save it. You know,
Well, I'll tell
because
you,
we were working remotely, and everybody was getting rid of things.
the pandemic did a world of good for the plant world. People's gardens looked better. House plants became more popular again. You can't say a lot of good things about the pandemic, but that's one of them. So, you know, that's true.
Yeah.
So many
Green
people.
thumb up.
Yes.
Like
I like that. A green thumb up. Yes, absolutely. So, all right. Well, thank you very much for calling, and have a great week, and let me know how you do with that. Okay.
All right, great. Thank you, Peggy.
All right.
Have
Bye
a great
bye.
week.
Have a good week. Bye bye now.
Bye.
All right. We're going to go. Oh my gosh. We have 2 more callers. Oh, this is so exciting. Chris from Scotch Plains is calling. Hey, Chris. Hey, Chris. How you doing?
Good morning, Peggy.
Good morning.
Hi there. I'm doing good. To set the record straight about the bean trellis, that was Bob from Piscataway's idea. I called up asking about the leather britches, but he had the idea with the Christmas tree.
I stand corrected. But you 2 guys are, you know, 2 of my favorite listeners. So forgive me if I got you mixed up, but I'm going to try it. I do have the 2 trees, so I'm going to definitely try to do something with them for sure. So that'll be fun.
Absolutely. I don't know how else to put them, but I'm definitely going to see if I can try leather britches. As far as the cloches are concerned, I looked at a company. It's called Garden With Supply. It's based in Vermont. They don't have glass cloches, but they do have plastic ones. I bought them in the past. They're pretty reasonable in price. There's a set of 3 cloches for $29.99. Diameter is about 13 inches. The height is about 12 inches, so they're not tiny. As far as utility is concerned, they're lighter than a glass cloche would be, so conceivably they could get blown over in the wind, but they do have holes at the base so you can secure them. with pegs. The nice thing that the plastic has that the glass doesn't is that they have a vent on the top, so you can close it if it's cold or open if it's warm. Whereas with the glass closures, you'd either have to remove them or prop them up. So it's aesthetically not as pleasing, but it works. It does the job, and it does save a lot of money, no doubt about it.
Garden Supply has a lot of really cool and interesting things, and I have definitely made purchases from them many times in the past. Sometimes they are a little pricey though. So the fact that you would say that they were reasonable is encouraging, because a lot of their stuff I can't afford to touch. But what did you think of my glass one? I thought I did pretty good. Right?
That is a real find, especially for inside, like in a greenhouse where you're going to be looking at it all the time. That really is outstanding. So that, no doubt about it, that's really attractive.
So I had fun. I was so excited when I found that. I was so excited, and the lady was so nice. It was fun. The whole experience was very positive, and the monkey orchid is thriving under there. So hopefully we'll get to see some monkeys in the not too distant future.
Yeah, it looks like it's ideally suited for that. And Peggy, final thing, just in terms of your cherry blossoms, two thoughts with the sponges. I'm wondering if you used a real coarse sponge to give it sort of like a open effect rather than a solid effect, or even if you just, rather than using the sponge to completely make the flower, if you could just make individual petals with it. And so the way, what do you call it, cherry blossoms tend to be sort of like light and delicate and dainty, you might be able to strategically, do a few dabs for each flower petal, and it might come out worth it.
I might try it again. I was not happy with the way they looked flat. They had no personality. And I figured I could probably add personality to them. But if I'm going to go through all the trouble of getting out a paintbrush and adding the personality, I could just paint them. So, but then I was thinking also today that I could try the sponges on their side a little bit to give me like partial petals and sideways petals. So I might try that today before I decide to, because whatever I decide, I've got to stick with it. It's got to be the same way all the way through, or they're going to look stupid. They're not going to match. So I might try a little, make a flat petal and then use the side of the shape to maybe make a curve that's like half a petal. I might play with it a little more before I come to my final conclusion, but I will let you know by next week what I've decided.
And the trunk looks great. So if that's any indication of what the rest of it is going to be like, the trunk really, has character, looks realistic. So I know the show is winding down. I better go, but thank you so much. I do enjoy your show every week.
And I'm glad you like my tree. Thank you so much. All right. You have a great week, Chris. We'll talk again soon, I'm sure.
Okay. Bye now.
Bye-bye now. All right. We're going to have a little chat with my good friend, Mary, who used to be from, was it Colonia? Or now she's from Woodbridge. Now she's from Florida. Hey, Mary, how you doing?
Good morning, Peg. How are you?
I'm good. Have you been watching the whole show?
I tuned in a little late. I lost track of time. We've been so busy down here doing things.
But did you see my tree? Did you see my tree?
No.
Can you bring up the tree?
Missed that part.
Well, I want you to, Mary, I need you to see my tree. Okay.
Okay.
Up, forward. One more. There. What do you think?
Oh, Peg. Beautiful. I didn't expect any less. That is so cool. Look at the stripes. I love it.
Well,
Wow.
that's the last major thing that I have to do in this house is that stairwell. And
Right.
And we waited to do it last because of all the furniture moving and storage and painting and stuff going up and down the stairs. So we wanted to do that when, we were done with all that. So,
it looks amazing.
So the trick is, how do I get all the way up to the tippy top? Can we show Mary the slide of me at the bottom of the stairs? Yeah. See how high up that is? So I haven't figured out how I'm going to get the tree to go all the way up there. That's going to be,
Wow.
yes.
And I see your little supervisor at
Yes.
the top of the stairs watching.
Yes, giving orders. Absolutely.
Adorable.
So,
Oh my God, that is going to be quite the project.
it is
And it's
definitely
gonna be
quite the
gorgeous. Look
project.
at those stripes. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Well, thank you.
Looks great.
So what can I do for you? You called with a question.
Okay. Okay. Someone sent me a little plant, which is a money tree plant, and I'm not exactly sure how to care for this little guy.
Does it have,
So any advice you can give
does it
me?
have green leaves that are like palmate, where they all come together in the center and like an umbrella sort of? Is that the one? Because there's more than one money plant, but that's the one that's a common house plant.
Yeah.
Okay. They're super easy. You know, they're really easy. Just put it in a sunny window and keep it watered. You shouldn't have any trouble with it at all. It's a great house plant. They've been on the scene maybe 10 years. When I first started being really involved in tropical plants, which was really how I got involved in horticulture to begin with, they were not around. So maybe the last 10 years they've been popular, but there are excellent, low maintenance. I wouldn't say it's as easy as like a snake plant or a cast iron plant. I'd put it more along the lines of like a philodendron, you know, like easy, but you got to keep an eye on it a little bit. But I think you'll be happy. Right. Yeah, I think you'll be happy. Not
Do I
tricky.
watering it like once a week, or require keep the soil moist all the time, or let it dry out?
Okay, let it get dry to the touch and then water it thoroughly. So you don't want it bone dry. You want it to get a little bit dry.
Okay.
But then when you water it thoroughly. And of course, you know, simultaneously when it's dry to the touch, you want to pick it up. And if it feels heavy, then you can wait another day. But if so, and then after you water it and the water runs through and you let it drain and you throw it away the excess water, I want you to lift it to get the idea of how it feels when it's fully moist. So that in your, so that you have something in your head to compare it to. So, you know, when you lift it up and it feels heavy because you just watered it, that's what it feels like when it's fully wet. And then that'll give you an idea. If you touch it and it's dry, if it's still wet on the bottom, it'll give you an idea. Oh, this still has a little weight to it. I can wait another day.
Perfect. Okay. I knew you'd have all the answers for me.
Well, we miss you guys. I hope you're having fun down there. I keep seeing, I keep seeing furniture.
I miss you too.
I've been searching for a new couch and I keep seeing I said, oh, Mary would like that. Oh, Mary would like that. Because I know you're searching for furniture. And I keep thinking, oh, she would love this, but you're all the way down in Florida.
I know. I'll have to, we got a furniture delivery this week. So I do have a living room pretty much put together and a dining room. So I will take some pictures later on today and I will text you them.
And now you have a plant. That makes it feel like that makes it feel like home. All right, give Pat a hug from us, and we will chat.
Okay,
we will chat again soon.
Peggy, thanks so much.
All right, thanks for calling. All right, bye bye now.
Bye bye.
Well, that was fun. We went a little over, not too much, but we went a little over. But that was great. So remember that we are archived, and that you can like and subscribe and follow on whatever medium you are watching us on. We would appreciate that. Remember also that you can watch the archive shows, and that I will be here next week, same time, same place. Until then, have a good one. Bye-bye.